interview some guests, have a little fun together. Come on, let's get to it. Welcome 2024. This is my first podcast of 2024, and I did things a little different this year. This episode was recorded live, so I have some every once in a while I'm shouting out to some people who are online with me, sending me some love, and I'm sending my love back. So I really appreciate the love and support. So every once in a while throughout this year, we will be recording live Unfiltered Hummingbird with Camellia. So if you see me on live, jump in, join in on the conversation. All right, let's get to it. Is it enough? All right. Hopefully I can hear. Okay, now I am. Hi. So it is almost 2020. Well, it is 2024. It is 2024. And by this time, it's almost February. So by this time, everyone should have had some time of reflection, some time to think about what happened in 2023 that you either didn't finish, you want to finish, or you didn't like how it turned out. Well, here's another opportunity to get that done. So in 2024, I had a question I wanted to start off with. Is it enough? Is it enough? Are you enough being content with yourself? Are you enough? Is it enough to be content with yourself? Are you okay with yourself? Pretty interesting, huh? Because you can be content until you see someone else. You see someone else, how they're living their life. You're scrolling through their Instagram feed or their TikTok, and their life just looks so much more interesting, or it appears to be, right? So interesting, right? So, is it enough to be content with yourself, with who you are? So, when I think about contentment, I think about like self-acceptance. It means to be satisfied, at ease. I accept me as a person. I'm comfortable with my own strengths, my own weaknesses, my overall identity. I am comfortable with. And I think it takes a lot to actually come to that realization that I'm okay with me. I'm okay with who I am as a person. Have you ever thought about that? Are you content? Or do you say you're content and then you find yourself comparing yourself to other people? Oh, comparison is a thief. Comparison is a thief. Can I tell you, you are enough. Do not compare yourself to anyone else or what they're doing, what they pretend to be doing, or what it appears that they're doing. Do not compare yourself to anyone else. You are enough. So the question I ask, is it enough to be content with who you are? Do you love yourself? Are you okay with your weaknesses? Are you okay with your strengths? Your overall identity, are you okay with that? I know when I deal with my strengths, I'm good with. When it comes to my weaknesses, yeah, I have some, and it's they become opportunities, not something that I dwell on and that gets me down and takes me in this downward spiral. But weaknesses are, and we all have them. Yes, we all have these weaknesses. And when you do have these weaknesses, you have to first come to grips with, hey, that is something that I have. That is a weakness that I have. And you're in good company because let me tell you something, everybody has them. So typically, to have a healthy self-esteem and self-acceptance, this is where you become content and realize that you are a work in progress. I mean, you're not going to always be in the same spot that you're in right now. So you have to give yourself some grace. Allow yourself the time that you need to navigate through life So you'll have this sense of peace and fulfillment throughout life. So this comes over time, right? This doesn't happen overnight. You don't wake up and just have this fulfillment of your life, because we all have these weaknesses, right? And we all have our strengths. The strength, that's something that we're just good at and we know we're good at. And that becomes our sweet spot in life, where we could just take something and go, and we love to do it, whether you're paid to do it or you're not paid to do it. You love to do it. That becomes your strength. My strength is hope, love, joy, because I love talking to people. I love inspiring people, because it's what gives people that encouragement, that pep that they need to get to the next level, to get to the next step in life. And you'll have these ebbs and flows in life, and somewhere down the journey, along the journey, there comes someone who will be able to push you along. And that's what you need. And that's where you come to Unfiltered Hummingbird. I'll be your encouragement jar. Open up and get that encouragement and keep going. But let's get back to contentment. So, the state of contentment, I think, arises when we do become self aware. Sometimes you're not self aware, and you have to give yourself some compassion. Remember, I talked about giving yourself some grace? You got to have compassion for yourself and a positive attitude toward yourself. Now, this does not mean that we are perfect, nor it just means that we recognize and we're content with who we are right now, and yet we still have some room to improve. So we embrace ourselves with all of our imperfections, with all of our strengths, with all of our weaknesses, and then you get this feeling of inner harmony, because you need that. It's contentment to emphasize the importance of acknowledging and celebrating life, your life. What have you done? Big, small, whatever. What have you done? Have you taken time to say, oh, you did that? You did good. Or that was a good deed that you did. You called your mom, you called your dad, you were nice to your spouse. You were able to do something nice for your children. No matter how small it may seem, it's about cultivating this sense of gratitude for the journey of self-improvement and understanding, so that progress, it comes as it comes, and it's consistent. It's a consistent effort of learning how to deal with your successes and your setbacks. And that's where we come into what I talked about earlier about your weaknesses. We all have them, right? And you're going to have successes and you're going to have setbacks, but being content with yourself means you don't become complacent or you stop pursuing growth, but it's finding a balance between mm, eh, finding a balance between ambition and contentment. You have to appreciate how far you have come while you're continuing to strive and go further and to develop and continue on this road of self-discovery. But on the journey, on the road, you take the time to acknowledge what you have done. Sometimes I think we get so busy and we forget to pat ourselves on the back, because guess what? You're not going to always have somebody there to tell you you did good or good job. That's not going to always happen. And even if it doesn't, if it does, that's amazing. But if it doesn't, hey, you take some time and pat yourself on the back. Smile at yourself. Feel that. And whatever it is you need to do to celebrate yourself. I mean, my things that I like to do to celebrate myself is I like to have that quiet time where I'm just relishing in the moment. I take advantage of the moments. As you go through life, you have different quarters. I like to think of life as quarters, right? Got your first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter. And look at that in regards to age. First quarter, you're baby just growing up. Second quarter, you got your teen, high school time frame. Third quarter, you're college, trying to figure out life. Fourth quarter is by that time you probably should have already figured out some parts of life, and you're just now starting to appreciate it. So take the time to pat yourself on the back and just say, you did an amazing job. Keep going. Well, you didn't check off, you didn't complete all 10 items on your to-do list, but you did complete five. And out of that five, two were really big items that you needed to get done. So you see what I did? I acknowledged that even though I had a lot to do, I did complete half of it. I mean, so right there, you say, hey, you did a good job. Well done. So, is it enough to be content with yourself? Let me tell you. Let me give you some tips on what the things that I do. So, in regards to contentment, because I want to always be mindful that, you know, I have a really blessed life, and I am so grateful and so thankful for the life I do have. I have an amazing husband. I have three beautiful daughters, and I have a grandbaby. So I am so blessed and so, so grateful. So I practice mindfulness. So I'm always taking that time to just remember the things that I have in my life and the people that I have in my life. So it's feelings of awareness of who I am, whether that's remembering the good deed I've done or something good that someone did to me without judgment. So, no judgment on myself. I give myself a lot of grace when I'm dealing with mindfulness because I want to be good to myself, right? If anybody is going to be good to you, you want it, the first person is who? To be yourself, right? You have to be good to yourself because you're the first person. And when you're good to yourself, you show other people how to be good to you. Does that help you? When you're good to yourself, it shows other people how to be good to you. Okay. Something else is to focus on the present things. Sometimes I have a 14-year-old and I'm telling you, sometimes she's already talking about what she wants to do for in life and where she wants to go to college and her first job. I mean, she's always thinking about the future. So many times I have to tell her, hey, 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 just take it day by day. Right now, you're 14. You're in the ninth grade. Enjoy ninth grade. Just appreciate this moment. This moment. That means being present in that moment. Because instead of dwelling on either the past or the future, which you have no control over anymore, right? You can't do anything about the past and you cannot control the future. So you have to focus on the present moment right now at this time. Hello, Gary. Right now, focus on this moment. Hi, Sam. That's what you have to focus on. And when you focus on this moment at this time, that's when you become aware and you become present of what this moment is. Thank you. So, something else you can do if you haven't ever journaled, it's something that I've heard other people call it gratitude journaling. What I like to say is a moment where you can actually journal, write down the things that you like, the things that you're grateful for. Because what you do is when you're thinking about it and you're writing it down, it gets it out of your head on paper. And then what happens when you're writing? You read over what you wrote, right? So you cultivate a sense of gratitude and you're shifting your perspective towards something that's positive and contentment, right? Because you're thinking, you're journaling about writing things down and you're being mindful of what you're grateful for. Something else that I tried to started doing, and this is something else. My husband sometimes calls me a pack rat because I like to keep, I keep a lot of sentimental things, but decluttering. Do you have a closet a space in your house, a physical space in your house where you just collect things. You just collect them. And you don't use them all the time, but they just sit somewhere. Well, that's me. I just kind of have my little spots, my closet filled of all my little different things. I don't use them. I don't know why I keep them, but one thing that I started doing about the third quarter of last year, I started kind of decluttering. I just took one closet and I just took a little bit, at least 5 or 6 of those things out that I was not using and I had no use for them. I just took them out and I actually gave them away or I threw them away. I started third quarter last year. Now I am still doing this. So I'm a work in progress. Remember what I told you about being content? So the times that I was able to take something out of that closet and declutter, I was present in that moment and I said, "Hey, I did good. I am in a process of decluttering this closet." So being present in that moment, being grateful that I was healthy, and able to get in my closet and pull out things that I'm no longer using and give them to some other people or just throw them away when they're no use to me, right? Something else is you got to set good boundaries. I think that has a lot to do with contentment because when we establish healthy boundaries in our relationships and activities, they protect our well-being. They protect us and they help us to prioritize our life, right? You There's a lot of times that you might have to say no when it comes to you and your self-care. About you. We're talking about, contentment, being enough. And if we're practicing to be content with ourselves, then we can't overload our schedules with all of these to do things to satisfy other people. Because who's number one? We are. You have to prioritize yourself because um, an example is being a mom. We give out to everyone. We give out to her spouses, to the children, to the household, to your job. And sometimes we have to tell ourselves that, hey, you didn't give any time for yourself. So you have to be mindful of your boundaries. Something else I wanted to talk about is self compassion. Earlier, I said that you got to give yourself some grace. We have to treat ourselves with kindness, understanding. Biggest one, forgiveness. We have to forgive ourselves when we make a mistake. Sometimes we will self sabotage ourselves just because we will function and operate in unforgiveness on ourselves. We are not perfect. So give yourself some grace and forgive yourself, especially during difficult times, because they can create self doubt. So you have to be gentle. Be gentle with yourself and acknowledge that it's okay to have flaws and imperfections. Hey, we all do. I don't care if everybody if you see other people's reels or listen to their shows and they talk as if they don't have any imperfections or flaws. Lies, lies, lies. We all have them and it's okay. So, it is enough. And then something fun. Engage in activities that you enjoy, right? Make time for hobbies. What is your interest? What do you like to do? What are your hobbies? What things do you do that bring you joy? What makes you laugh? Uh, You got to come up with some of those things. And whatever it is, do it often. Do it often. That's part of self-care. That's part of contentment, right? And what I like to engage in activities that I love to do. So I love taking walks, long walks. I love hanging out with my husband. I think he's the funniest guy. He always makes me laugh, and that's so cute. But that's nourishment to my soul, and it enhances my sense of contentment because I'm like, it's okay to laugh. Okay, and y'all, I have a really loud laugh. I do. My laugh is really contagious, and I don't say that to brag. It's My husband will tell you it's not a brag. It's not a good thing. But I remember one time we were on vacation, and we went on vacation with a group of friends, and we were at their room, and their room had a swim out pool. And we had jumped in the pool with our clothes on, and we were laughing and joking, and I was just having a ball laughing. It was just so much fun, right? And it was at night, y'all, too. So it was really fun. So the next morning, we were at breakfast, and we were just reliving last night, and I started laughing. And let me tell you, this woman came over. She said, "That's your laugh." I say, "Excuse me?" She said, "Were you laughing outside last night?" And all of my friends like, "Yep." And I start laughing. She said, "Your laugh is contagious. When I heard your laugh, it made me laugh. I wanted to come down there with y'all. My husband was asleep." And I cracked up laughing again. She said, "You have a beautiful laugh." I mean, now, of course, now that made my day, right? Now my friends, they were just like, "Oh my goodness, you gave her fuel." But that right there, I love to laugh. And hearing that compliment from a stranger who just heard my loud laugh the night before, that just made my day. But hey, don't you have to be content to be able to be yourself to laugh? Have you ever been around people who are scared to laugh? They stifle their laugh. Yeah, I have. I mean, and because I have a loud laugh, I notice it when other people kind of stifle their laugh. And I'm like, you just have to get that belly laugh. I think that belly laugh is good for the soul too, right? I just love it. So if you got a funny joke, tell me, because I love laughter. I think laughter is medicine to our soul for you. So I'm almost out of my time. About contentment. One more thing about contentment. So I want you, when we think about contentment, think about as part of being a self-reflection exercise. So take time to reflect on your values, your goals, your aspirations, and ask yourself, reflect upon if your actions do align with your core values of life, your choices. Do they align with it? And if they don't, make those adjustments, course correct, pivot, change it up. You always have time to pivot. You always can course correct. So, as I end this session of Unfiltered Hummingbird, I want to ask the question again. Is it enough to be content with yourself? I want you to be content with yourself. And I don't want you to compare, because comparison is a thief. So I'll leave you with, you are enough. All right, that's all we have for today. Join me next time on Unfiltered Hummingbird. I am your host, Camellia. Until then, have a blessed day.